Back by popular demand, here we are. We're going to respond to some financial people on YouTube, and we're going to talk about what they're doing and how unrealistic some of these people are and what to do about it. And then we're going to talk about some other videos that you guys sent me that are just absolutely crazy. And let's jump into it. This time I'm going to let the video play out because you guys told me that you guys want me to do that. So let's jump into the first video I got for you guys.
Here's the most you should borrow. And it's the only thing I don't yell at you for borrowing, but I would prefer you didn't borrow or that you borrow less, and get it paid off as soon as possible. But the most you should borrow is a home on a 15-year fixed rate where the payment is no more than a fourth of your take-home pay.
So this is Dave, and I don't know if Dave owns a bunch of real estate and wants you guys to be renters forever, but this is absolutely crazy. You most likely will never buy a house under these conditions if you're the average family. Now you're like, why? And so I got the numbers pulled right up here. So the median household income after taxes in the United States in 2020, $64,240. Okay, that's a pretty hefty amount, right? So that is already after taxes, as you can see. So now let's go see how much that actually is per month. So if you divide that amount by 12, that gives you $5,375. So basically, you're making $5,400 after taxes, right? So now let's go see how much you are actually allowed to be spent on a mortgage if you follow his advice. Okay, you're no more than $1,350 allowed to spend on your mortgage on a 15-year. And so let's go check out what that would result into the real world. And here we go. I got this pulled up. So if we get a house price of $200,000, a 20% down payment with $40,000 down on a 15-year fixed rate at 6.163%, you'd be paying $1,600. And the average house is about $480,000. So this would not even buy you a condo in Las Vegas. So when I pull up Zillow and I'm going to show Las Vegas, and we're going to just look at everything in Las Vegas, but we're going to put the price to for sale, and we're going to put the price to the maximum is $200,000. They got a few actually. So this would actually buy you a 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, 500 square foot. So this would actually buy you something. So I'm surprised, but this will buy you 1 bedrooms apartments. And they've been on the market for 200 plus days, so there must something not be right. 1 bedroom. So according to Dave, he'd want you to be in a 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom apartment with 700 square feet. You might as well keep renting. I mean, look at that. And then they probably have big HOA fees, so that would put you out of it anyways. So when you scroll down, that would probably put you out of the range. I can't tell here, but if we're going to filter through houses and actually put townhouses, multifamily, there is no house in this area. There is no house for $200,000. There is absolutely no house for $200,000. As I suspected, this is, you gotta, if you're in this situation where you don't want to over leverage yourself, you should find an area that is very, very popular and you can buy the shittiest house in the best neighborhood. So when you do make improvements to that house, that you can actually increase the price of the home, the value of the home when you're going to resell it. That is how you build financial wealth. and you can buy a house for 300, 400, or maybe 500,000, stretch your budget a little bit, live in it for 2 years, 3 years, and then fix it up and actually sell it for a profit. That's how I did with my first house. I bought it from a messy in California that my realtor didn't even really want to go into that house. And then I've actually fixed it up, repaired it, and then I sold it 2 years for hundreds of thousands of dollars extra than actually just buying the one that's already done. So be your own repair person and fix it. And even if you have to hire somebody, but that's how you create value. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about this. But let's jump into the next video.
How much is your car payment?
1,400.
How much is your car payment?
403.
What's your car payment?
1,100.
How much is your car payment?
1,400.
What's your car payment?
I don't have a car payment.
Okay, so if I watched Dave Ramsey's advice and then I saw these people at the car dealership, they're spending more on their car than Dave Ramsey said to spend on your house. So that is basically according to Dave Ramsey, this would actually be driving your house to the dealership. So when I'm looking at these crazy car dealerships, I'm thinking you gotta be making $150,000 to afford these insane car loans prices. So these car payments are absolutely insane. $1,400, that should be 2 cars. But then again, I don't know why these people that work at these dealerships don't get these crazy lease incentives or these crazy dealerships incentives where they can actually get a super cheap car. So just to get to know these car features and then know and how to do better sales with these features. So there's probably some incentive programs for car dealerships that they can drive their own cars. So if you're a Toyota dealer, your salespeople should probably drive Toyota so they know the latest and greatest, all models, all touch screens, know how the features go. So when a customer asks about that, would probably makes sense that they drive Toyotas on a daily so they know what they're selling. So there's probably programs out there. I don't know, but man, $1,400, that's a hefty payment. And looking at the average take-home pay, you're spending a lot of money just on your $1,400 car payment. And then if you have another $2,000 in rent, basically you have no money left over. So absolutely.
Jen's like, babe, do you know what the car payments are on a regular $40,000 car? I'm thinking $500 or whatever, right? $850. Do you know right now it's the highest car payment, average car payment in the history of America? It went up $200 in a year. Middle America's income hasn't gone up 40% or 20%.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. When you're looking at all these places where there's advertising, low car payments, low car prices, it has gone up so much. When you look online, they're seeing cars on the lots that are so expensive. They're looking at $100,000 cars. They're looking at such big prices of these vehicles. And now with interest rates going up, it is absolutely crazy. And one thing I want to address, when I first bought my car in 2016, where I first took out a loan for my car, I had a car loan for my Ford Mustang that got totaled. And at that time, I went to CarMax and I bought a car that had a 2.9% interest. So it was way more beneficial to me to actually finance it because the market made a bigger return on my money than it costed me to borrow the money. But now we're looking at these 12, 20% interest rates. Now you're not in a spot where you can out earn the interest that you're paying on the car. So there is no way how you can get into the market, into any kind of financial market and get a 22, 23% return on your money to outwork that car payment. If you got a car payment in the low twos and you got a 10% rate on return on your money, then you did really well. That's what I did. But now the car prices and the car loans are so expensive that they're putting onto consumers. And I truly believe that CarMax Financial and all these lending companies are making so much money with all these craziness going on where they charge you 20%, 25% interest, 30% interest on your car. It is not worth it. It is not worth you driving 2 hours a day in a car that's costing you half of your month's paycheck. So this is absolutely nuts. Be alert and drive something cheaper. And I actually thought about getting rid of mine and getting something cheaper, but then I was like, I shouldn't do it. I was like, I like mine. I need a truck. So I thought about trading it in, but then I was like, I'm not paying 80 grand for a pickup truck. That ain't happening. So let's keep watching.
What are you making right now?
About $3,000 to $4,000 a month in Uber, but I'm actually losing money on Uber. And you were the one who was like, everyone's doing Uber. Roll the clip. If you're an honest man, roll the clip.
I know Uber Eats drivers who I've personally met and talked to who are raking in like $80,000 a year. And that is not the amount of depreciation in gas they are taking in their cars.
And repairs and insurance.
And repairs.
You have to pay more in insurance when you do that too.
I know.
It becomes a whole thing.
$80,000 is also a thing.
Everyone does it. You were so confident that people are making tons of money on Uber Eats. I've already driven on Lyft, and I know it's not working. It is a good app that tricks people into thinking that they're turning a profit, but when you look at it on an accounting basis, it's not a profit.
About a year and a half ago when we filmed, getting out of the pandemic, Uber Eats was actually making really good money. And today, you're right, it's not as good as it was during those pandemic days.
It's not profitable at all.
People are making profits.
Okay, Uber Eats and DoorDash delivery drivers. Oh my gosh. So when I first heard about it, I was like, oh my gosh, that's a really good business model for Uber. But for the driver, it is actually really, really bad, because what you need to count on is depreciation of the car, your time. You need to count on wear and tear. You need to do all of these crazy stuff that you need to worry about, insurance, and you need to get the car registered or not registered. You need to get the car insured for deliveries. And when they buy and ask you to get a loan, they are going to ask you, hey, do you use that car for any type of deliveries? Because then you need to pay higher depreciation because it is a commercial vehicle and you're going to put a lot of miles on it in no time. So you need to be super, super alert. If you're doing these type of deliveries, you need to be really, really alert of what your actual financial basis is and your time commitment, because you're not an employee that's get paid by the hour. No, you're getting paid by the orders you actually accept. And that is an independent contractor, you're self-employed. So you need to make sure that these numbers really match up. And this is surge pricing, right? And when you have 100 people driving for Ubers and only one delivery, everybody else is just sitting at the lot waiting. I've seen that in Miami, where there's been videos that I've actually showed that people sent me that they said there has been such a demand for Uber drivers that they made so much money. But now we're seeing the opposite, where people actually are waiting in these overhauled lots for Uber drivers because there's no people that actually want to take these Uber rides because it got so expensive for the riders and the drivers aren't making enough. So Uber is pocketing so much money. And one thing I'd love to stress and tell these people is like, hey, car rental prices during those times were astronomical. You couldn't rent a car for a decent price. It got so expensive. Now, car prices for rentals came down. So now you're like, do I want to pay Uber or do I want to just rent a car? And now we're right there where it's actually more beneficial again to rent a car than it was during the pandemic, because during the pandemic, where Uber was so cheap and rentals cars were like so ridiculous expensive, they didn't have cars, so they were so jacked up. And when you're an independent contractor, you need to be so alert of how much it costs me, how much my time going to cost me, how much it's going to cost me to idle my car and just let the AC run, because these are all factors that you need to take into consideration. And when it comes down to the bare numbers. This is what I'm stressing in all my videos. Make sure that the numbers match up and don't go into it and be like, oh, this is something that I'm going to do for a few weeks and then I'm going to be done with it. And if that's so, then go ahead and do it. But if you want to do this as a long-term commitment and have it as a side gig, you need to make sure that all the numbers really, really line up and you can actually turn a profit. So you might need to downgrade your car or get a better car, because depending on that, you might get more deals or you get better rides that pay more, tips and all that kind of stuff. So let me know what you guys think about all this. But man, it is sure tough out there right now. And looking at all these financial advice is so crazy because it is not just cookie cutters where everything is alike. No, everybody has their unique life, their goals, their values, and you got to find out what you want and what you want to do with your life and how you want to spend your money. And if you're going to spend your money in ways like, hey, I want a bigger house, it was always a dream of mine, then go and do it. And if you're like Dave, that probably owns a lot of rental units, there's no way that he would ever say you shouldn't borrow money because then you're a renter. And if you're a renter, then that's good for him. Just like Grant Cardone, he wants it to be a renter. There's all these people that have alternative agendas, and it hurts their own business interests for you taking out a 30-year mortgage, right? So if you would have taken out a 30-year mortgage like I did in the high twos, low threes, then all of a sudden you're very, very happy and you're very, very good, and the bank won't see you again. So you need to strike when the opportunity is there and know when a good deal is a good deal. So get into the market slowly. Don't buy the biggest house on the block. Start smaller. Buy a starter home. But even that is harder now because all starter homes aren't alike and starter homes aren't really, really on the market. So I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Let me know if you like this series. Should I continue it? Should I not? I got one more video that's going to come out tomorrow that I just did like this. It's going to be about how retirement age in the United States is a scam, how they scammed us out of it, and give my feedback on it and get some numbers. And you guys get to see what I do for my retirement, how I'm planning for it, and we're going to see some crazy, crazy numbers. So stay tuned, like and subscribe. If you have questions, shoot me an email in the about section of my profile. Follow me on LinkedIn. I really appreciate you guys. You guys are amazing. And don't let anybody tell you the deal is too good to be true. And it's only a deal for today. So be wary. Keep your finances tight. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. And I appreciate you guys. And I'll see you in the next one.